Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. It's been a while since I checked in, and I'm quite aware of that. A lot of people are asking sort of, where's Antony Turner? Why is he not speaking up? Has he just disappeared? Has he taken a big payout and gone running off to some sort of desert island? Just to let you know and confirm that's not the truth. By any means, I'm still in Cape Town. I'm still very involved in the background in listening into the project, listening into the AMAs, keeping track of things and keeping contact at least with the community, and even some people in the project that are still active in BlockDAG. So I'm doing what I can in the background. So just to cover a few things, I mean, people have been asking, why am I not coming out and spilling the beans, talking honestly and openly about the project? And as much as I would love to do that, there are NDAs in place. From a consulting perspective, there's a confidentiality clause. But more importantly, when I signed the LOI, the transition LOI, there was a specific full document, NDA document, that was attached to that, which prevents me talking. And while I'm considering the best approach and the best options going forward, I prefer not to contravene the confidentialities of the NDAs. So I'm keeping to myself for now. I'm keeping quiet, but that doesn't mean that I'm not doing anything. Some of you might have seen that on Reed and Mohammed's AMAs, I popped into two of them under my own name. I verified it was me there. I didn't have a lot to say, and again, because I'm just listening in, I just wanted people to know that I was there and I'm participating. So I haven't taken money to disappear. I think it's been publicly stated by Lisa that team members haven't been paid, and I'm certainly one of them. So I'm certainly not in a good position right now in terms of having been booted. So yeah, I'm also trying to fight the fight and see where I can help from a team perspective. Sorry, just getting my thoughts in order. So in terms of what the community is doing, I sincerely believe that the transition LOI, or the transition itself, was the best solution for the project. I still believe that's the case. So what is happening through Reed and Mohammed and the community, they're setting up a Wyoming-based DAO LLC, which I think is, and forget so much the structure, but I think conceptually it's important for the community to have a vehicle that gives them a say in what happens. Exactly what that's used for and how it's used, I mean, that's to be determined, and I've got strong views on that, but I won't express that now. But I think it's worth being part of that. It gives you access to information that's made available through that, and it also means that you have a say, and it's a stronger vehicle than just a bunch of people all sort of ranting and raving on various social media networks. So I would suggest be part of that. It makes a lot of sense to be part of that. In terms of the actual vehicle, it's a lightweight version of what we were envisaging. So as part of the transition, we were going to set up a Cayman-based foundation, which wraps a DAO, which gives a DAO a legal presence, and then there was going to be an operational company as well. I think what's been proposed now is a lightweight version of that, just to get things up and running quickly. It's a Wyoming LLC, which has been adjusted so that ownership is done through tokens, so no one has to go through KYC. It's anonymous, so it sort of bridges real world company with a token-based economy. So, and from what I understand, one token, one person. It's not about how much you own, but it just, if you've got a token, and at least you're part of it. So get with the program. I think it's viable, and I think what's crucial in this time is the community needs to come together as much as possible. A broken community doesn't have a strong voice, so come together, make your wishes known, and I think that's a good vehicle to do that. In terms of what the project's doing, obviously they're pushing ahead. We're close to the end of the pre-sale. I've got no idea what the sales are like, but I know what's happening with the price. Obviously, there's been steady decreases in price, which is disappointing because the whole intention was that the price would increase leading up to listing, because the listing price has to have some relevance to the last sale price, and obviously that's been messed up by this whole approach. Anyway, I don't want to comment too much on that. It's not the right place to comment on that. But obviously pre-sale is coming to an end quite soon, and the project is then looking to, I stand under correction, but I believe the TGE and hence mainnet is scheduled for around the 11th of February, and then a listing is talked about for the 16th of February. As I said, I believe those are the last dates that were mentioned by Nick in the last set of AMAs. My concern around that is a rushed listing is not a good idea. I have my concerns or doubts over the readiness of the tech and the readiness of the team behind it, etc. So I caution them, and I'm just worried that that's premature. And obviously a premature listing, there's risk of the technology failing, there's risk of the market not being ready for it, or sorry, not the market being ready, but the market not seeing the true value of what was being built because it's doesn't have everything in place. So I'd be nervous around that. Again, I'm not going to come out any stronger. I mean, obviously I've got a lot of information of what's happened in the past. I don't want to layer that in, but just intuitively from my perspective, I have a lot of tokens in the project which I've bought. So from my own perspective as a token holder, and obviously knowing all the people that have invested in this, I do worry about that. Anyway, it seems like it's going ahead. So again, the community needs a voice to make a decision whether they back that or not. Something else I just want to comment on, because there's been a lot of miscommunication around this, and it's important to understand, is the liquidity for the project. I know the white paper and the project talked about 100 million in liquidity. That's not needed. You don't need 100 million in liquidity for a launch or for a listing. Just to explain, liquidity is in two parts. It's the native token. So the project needs to provide X amount of native tokens to the market makers, which they use, but they also need to provide stable coins, which are there also to provide liquidity. Now, liquidity is not and can never be there to buy the token when the market is selling. So it's not there to counter the sellers. So if there's lots of sellers and no buyers, the liquidity is not there to keep buying, because that would be crazy, and the market makers don't do that. Any reputable market maker won't do that. It's actually illegal in crypto, and certainly in the regulated markets it's super illegal. So they can't and won't be there to manipulate or manage the price of the token. If people are selling and there are no buyers, the price will drop. If people are buying more than selling, the price will go up. The liquidity and the market makers are there to make sure that there's trading. So they make sure that there's always buyers and sellers. They put a lot of buys in, a lot of sells in, but they're generally doing that in a market neutral way. So if you or I go in and we want to buy 100 BDAG, we'll find someone else in there that's willing to sell 100 BDAG, and that's probably the market maker, and vice versa. So that's what they do. They keep the markets fluid, so there's buying and selling, which prevents spikes to a degree. It does reduce volatility to a degree, but remember, as I said, they are not there and they cannot change the price. There just isn't enough liquidity. Let's assume that BlockDAG launches with a market cap of let's say 500 million. Now that's just a random number for now, but 500 million, maybe it's 400, 300, maybe it's $1 billion. If we put out 100 million, there's no way that if 500 billion of people are selling, there's no way that you can counter that by buying to the tune of 100 million. Quite quickly, the project and the market makers would run out of money they would have burnt their cash and the market would then carry on tanking. So it's a very bad idea unless the market cap is very small and the cash reserves are very big. Then that can be used as a mechanism. But in terms of block DAG and where we are, it's impossible. It would be a stupid thing to do, to blow all our cash trying to do something which is illegal and would be fruitless anyway. So liquidity is there to, in essence, help facilitate trading, but nothing more, and to reduce volatility. I think that probably covers everything. I'll drop another video if there's something else I want to comment on. As I said, I am here. I'm looking at how I can help, whether it's working with the community, whether it's working with a team, although there hasn't been a lot of willingness to engage. Maybe just to mention, I did drop into the Cape Town office, said hi to the guys there. It was nice to see them. We had a bit of a chat. I wasn't there to spy on the project, so they're all super committed to what they're doing. Obviously, they have a job to do. It's not for them to decide whether that's the right thing to do or not. But it was great to see the guys, and certainly they're going to do whatever they can to deliver on what they've been given. So I appreciate that. In quite difficult or uncertain times, they're still going to give it a go. But yeah, so it was good to see the guys there. I just ask, obviously, the project to do the right thing. And if launching now is the right thing, then that's fine. But if it's not the right thing, then I implore you, make sure you make sure you're doing the right thing. And if the tech isn't ready, then be bold, be open, and state that, and don't go and launch just because there's pressure on you to do so. So that's just a request to the project, and that's primarily to Nick and Jeremy. I'd hate to see that any of the team, being the team that I brought in, that they become blamed for something that goes wrong because of a tech issue. I'm not saying that that's absolutely what will happen, but I have my concerns. Anyway, I'll drop more messages. I'll keep close. Watch out for me in some of the AMAs. I'll hopefully be in there. And yeah, as I said, I'm still here to support the project and the investors. So yeah, I'll be around. And thanks very much, everyone. And until next time, cheers. Bye-bye.